Hello, I'm here at Easter Road Stadium with Hibernian Women's Noah Schumacher and Stacey Papadopoulos. Today we're going to be taking in some of the most iconic sights in Edinburgh with club partner Central Taxis whilst discussing the girls' career in women's football so far. Let's go. Right, so we're here at Scottish Parliament. Let's start with your careers. Stacey, let's start with you. When did you first fall in love with football as a young girl?
Yeah, from a really young age. I, had two older brothers, and I grew up in a big Greek family that loved football, and so I would always go watch my brothers play when I was really young, and always said to my dad that I want to play, and so yeah, I played in an all boys team, and then when I was 12 or 13, played in my first girls team, and then yeah, I just loved it. Always played with my brothers 2v2 down at the park near the house, and yeah, always had a really good time. So it was a really big love and passion of mine from a really early age.
And no, what was it like for you? Were you from a football family? Was that the end sport to get started in football?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I definitely didn't come from a sports family, but my mom made it like a big thing when we were growing up. Like she threw us in sports. So I probably started when I was around 4 and then really fell in love with it at age like 10 to 12. I met like a lot of my childhood like best friends, which I'm still good friends to this day. But yeah, soccer was just something that kind of made me different from my family. None of my brothers really played. I mean, maybe for like a year or two, but they never stuck with it. But yeah, I'd say around age 10, 12 was when I really enjoyed.
So Stacey, you mentioned obviously growing up with your brothers in terms of football. When did you start playing, like early age in terms of getting into football?
Yeah, so started playing when I was really, really young, but I think the moment kind of took off for me when I was playing was probably when I was 15. I got recruited from like a A-League women's side in Australia, Melbourne Victory, and I was just a training squad member, and yeah, that was my first real experience at like a professional environment. And then yeah, spent some time overseas as well. Played in the States for a little while. Played in Greece for a little while. Played in Hungary, and then went back to Australia where I was from, and played in the A-League for 2 years, and then brought me to Hibs after that. So yeah, I guess it's taken me a few places, but it's been a great journey, and yeah, now I'm here and I'm loving every second of it. So
And Noah, when, for you obviously you'd mentioned that you weren't from a sporting family as such, but at what point, sorry, did you come to that you knew that you wanted to be a goalkeeper?
Actually, not until I got to college was I like full-time goalkeeper. I actually really hated playing as a goalkeeper growing up. Like nobody wants to be a goalkeeper, but I was like the coach. My mom was my coach for like 1 or 2 seasons, so nobody wanted to play, and she threw me back there. And then after that, I started playing like half keeper, half forward, midfield, and until I got to college, I was like full-time keeper. So now it's like love-hate relationship. You learn to love what you hate, right?
And did you ever at any point now in your career sort of look at back and go, I should be banging in more goals?
Here and there, here and there.
No, I want to talk to you about your career, but I believe despite your short time in Edinburgh, you've got some facts for me about Edinburgh Castle.
Yeah, just a few. The guy on the right, I forgot his name, but that's what Braveheart was based on, that man.
William Wallace, is it? Let's go. Let's go. We're off.
Another fact, I knew they have a moat down there, but there's no water in it. I guess the Queen came and she was like, every castle needs a moat, and so they built one, even though they never had the intentions of putting water in it.
I've been an Edinburgh boy all my life, and she's just taught me a few things. But let's talk about your career. So in football, we've touched on obviously starting out as a goalkeeper. What was it like at college, and when do you sort of remember that this is going to be a career for me in terms of starting out?
Yeah, I think not until the last few years of my university career, I was really starting to take it more serious that I wanted to play after. I've had coaches come and tell me like, you should really look at playing professionally after, you know, your university. But I would say the last 2 years when I was at Cal Baptist, I decided I was going to put a lot more effort and actually focus on developing while I was there. And then now I signed at Hibs and started my pro career, hopefully a long one.
Was it last year, 2023, you got goalkeeper of the year at Western, was it?
Yeah.
What was that like, obviously getting that accolade?
It was really nice and humbling at the same time. I would say it's a bigger reflection of the team. I think that was probably one of the best team experiences I ever had, just everybody pushing to an end goal. So that's just a reflection of the backline's efforts, the coaching standards, and just everyone as a whole, for sure.
And Stacey, for you, a little bit of a different journey in terms of being in Australia, obviously playing in the A-League. When did you obviously start make your first team debut?
Yeah, so I made my first team debut for Western United. 2 seasons ago was our first ever season in the league, so we were a brand new team. And yeah, we had a lot to prove. And yeah, we ended up coming second that year in our first ever year. And it was an amazing experience. We were such a close-knit group, and yeah, it was a good experience. I learned a lot from that year. It was my first ever, like, I would say proper professional contract where I was playing pretty regularly, enjoying myself a lot, and I was learning and growing so much. So yeah, it was a really good time.
And then there was obviously Calder as well. Like, that was a great journey for you, but ultimately then leads to your transition to Hibs. Talk me through a little bit of that, and what was it like when you're obviously going to Calder?
Yeah, so Calder was really kind of the start of it, where I was like, oh, I really, really want to push for more. And, you know, there were a couple of years where I was trying to break into the A-League and there were only 2 Melbourne teams, and yeah, I was close but never really quite got there, and then decided to go overseas a few times. And when I came back, I felt like I was ready. I felt like I learnt so much from being overseas and playing overseas, and I was able to play pretty regularly in my clubs in Hungary and Greece and stuff like that. And in the States, I learnt a lot as well. And yeah, so came back to Australia after my experiences overseas and got my first A-League contract. And yeah, it was like a dream come true. I've always wanted to play in the A-League since I was a little girl. And yeah, you know, playing for Western was such an amazing experience. Played 2 seasons there, and, you know, to come, you know, second in our first year and then come third in our second year. You know, we had 2 pretty successful years in our first 2 seasons as a club. So yeah, it's just testament to the team and the work that went around it from the club and the staff and stuff like that. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's get on to our next destination.
You made it. No, but yeah, how are we getting down? I don't know.
How are you finding life in Edinburgh?
Yeah, I'm loving it, to be honest. Yeah, you know, I'm a Melbourne girl, so I'm not short on coffee shops here.
You need to get yourself down to Stockbridge. It's
Yeah.
the best spots for coffee. You're more coffee shops than there is shops.
For sure, for sure.
And Noah, you've taken a liking to something else, I believe, in terms of a British staple.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Soreen's?
Until we were in the taxi, I couldn't really relate, but now once you've shown me the branding of it, I get it.
Yeah, I think it's more of the texture. Like, they're just amazing. I can't believe I've gone my whole life without having any. Like, probably the best part of Edinburgh so far.
Not even better than this view.
Yeah, I don't know. It comes good second right here.
We get a Soaring sponsorship for Noah, for
Yeah.
sure.
There we go. Sorry, there we go. Obviously, talking about the view, Easter Road Stadium, we've gone through both your careers. No, this is your first professional contract. I mean, how did that feel, at being at Hibs, and how did the moment come about? When did you know about it?
Yeah, it actually came up really fast. I think the team had already started preseason, and it was one of those moments I was just like, I don't really believe it until I'm on the flight. So, yeah, it was a great experience for sure so far. Yeah.
And who is it makes the phone call for you to get that move over?
It was a good friend of mine, actually. I don't know who he knew, but he knew somebody had sent my video over and they liked it. So hopped on a phone with Grant, and then after that, hopped on a flight.
He's now in his second phase as a manager. You've probably heard of that. He's won trophies with the club. How much did you know about that, Stacey, before you came here? And what conversations did you have with Grant before you signed?
Yeah, not too much. You know, when I was looking into the club and, you know, heard that they were interested in me, I knew that the team were in like an upward trajectory, and, you know, Grant had, you know, big aspirations for the team and wanted to push further with the program, and that was something that really drew me to wanting to come here and be a part of that. Being a part of that is something really special. So yeah, we had a good chat about that, and I was pretty much, you know, set on it from the beginning. So yeah.
You've had a taste of professional football in Australia, you mentioned there, but how impressed have you been with the setup of Hibernian women in terms of the infrastructure that's at the club behind us, HTC, and just the Scottish game in general?
Yeah, really impressed. You know, HTC is a great facility to have. You know, we got the gym, we've got, you know, all the recovery equipment that we need. You know, the training field is great. So, you know, and you have all the tools to be successful, you can go a really long way. And I think we're showing that in the season that we're having so far. So hopefully we can keep pushing further and climb up the ladder a bit more. And yeah, so it's been really, really good and really special. And I think the league is just getting better and better as the year goes on as well. So yeah, hopefully it'll be good to see how much it can grow.
Someone that's iconic when it comes to Hibernian women is Joelle Murray. Like, how inspired have you been by her?
Yeah, I think she brings a great aspect to the coaching side as well as like the player side. I didn't realize how big of a player she was until I got out here. Hearing her like talk with the game when the games are going on, like other teams, I was like, dang, I didn't know she was big time. But yeah, she's great person overall, just super sweet, down to earth. And yeah, she's a good advocate for the women's team as well as on the coaching staff.
Well, thank you very much for a lovely morning, girls, and we wish you all the best and look forward to seeing you progress with Hibs Women.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.